I would like to, okay, Dr. Fiza, I missed in my morning words to thank our panelists because we are hosts. We should all be very grateful and thankful to the guest panelists of Dr. Athar Kharal and Dr. Syed Nan Qasim, Dr. Sheila and Dr. Mohsin that have taken time and they are part of this activity. So I am also grateful as a part of our host team, grateful to our panelists who have joined us and with their expertise, they will support our event.
Yes, sir. It's been an honor having them. They are constantly with us from the morning till now. And we are going to have the talk of our first guest speaker, Dr. Athar Kharal, after half an hour almost, 26 minutes. Good afternoon. We are back again for our next and a very important talk of our guest speaker, Dr. Athar Kharal. Dr. Athar Kharal is currently serving as controller of examination at University of Wa, and he's a very well-reputed and respected academician of data science in the currently developing area within the Pakistani educational community. He has also special expertise in using ICT in classroom environment, curriculum design using the methodology of outcome-based education, theory and practice of semester system, life enhancement and development of skills. And he has successfully awakened academia and business to the needs of data-driven decisions, the D3 culture, and he is very active in various data mining-based engineering projects, especially in the domains of engineering, education, and healthcare. And he's also noted for providing a consultancy to business and industry in the areas of discrete event simulation and mathematical modeling. We are very honored to have you here, sir, and also thank you for agreeing to join us for this activity. And also, we welcome you here, and we are happy to have you. So, can you please start your screen sharing?
Am I audible, Dr. Fiza?
Yes. Very well.
Okay. Everybody, Assalamu alaikum and greetings. As I understand, there are certain attendees who are probably from abroad, from China and Turkey. So I will start the talk in English language. Preferably, if there had been only the audience from CASPAM, I would have opted to speak Urdu because the content is difficult and I would have chosen to make the language at least easier, if not the content.
Sorry for interrupting. Maybe you can go for the hybrid mode if it is manageable.
Sorry, pardon, ma'am?
Maybe in the hybrid mode, maybe a little Urdu and English, a mix of both.
Okay, no, I'll now prefer, once I am started in English, I would go by English all the time.
Okay. Okay,
anyhow,
please continue.
I hope the students will be able to understand.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'm thankful to CASPAM, and that is quite strange for me that I'm being welcomed in CASPAM because CASPAM is my alma mater, and I must be considered a host, not a guest, please. Anyhow, I'm going to start with the sharing of the screen. I hope I can share it now. I'm kindly hand over the control to me.
You must be having the control, please, because.
Okay. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible.
My screen. Okay. We shall start. Let me come from here. These are the contents with which I shall be speaking. First of all, how to start, then the tools, technologies, and ideas for startups and ventures. It will be hopefully a simpler presentation. But I understand, Dr. Fiza, that I'm having 1.5 hours on my disposal. Probably I can transgress into the panel discussion time a little.
Yes, maybe 10-15 minutes more. So it's going to be like 45 minutes.
Might be. Yeah. Might be. Yes.
Okay, it's okay.
Thank you.
It's fine.
Thank you for. Okay, we start with how to start. It is primarily meant for the people of mathematics who want to shift towards data science. I have done this transition myself successfully, so I can give you a little advice here probably. First of all, throughout the world in general and in particular within Pakistani society, Pakistani mathematical society, mathematical community, this has remained an impression that applied mathematics means only the mathematics which is physics inspired. Traditionally, we have been considering that only the people who are having a background in physics, only they can apply mathematics to change the world around them. This impression was a long-standing impression, at least spanning over last 50 years throughout the globe, and especially in the last 30 years in Pakistan. This impression is now changing rapidly. There are so many areas which have entered into the practical mathematics, or what I should say, the practicable mathematics. And the latest most example is statistics and data science. There now is the time that probably more than the people who are having a background in physics, the people who are having a background in statistics, they are appearing to become more relevant to apply mathematics to different areas. In this new area, new times, there is another problem. Problem is to change our view of mathematical knowledge. We are having a certain mathematical knowledge on our disposal. Everyone who is getting a 16 years education in mathematics is having more than enough technical and expertise on its disposal than what is required. Probably the mathematical knowledge at hand is often more than the required for the practical world. What is required is something different. Now we require discovering of the new mathematics. This is one view. The other view is that we have to consider making the known mathematics more accessible. Earlier, mathematics has been simply focused upon discovering of new mathematics. The times have changed with especially the entry of this computing machinery. The things which are becoming more important are making the known mathematics accessible. I hope you can understand it. What we want to do now is how to transform our known mathematical knowledge, which a student who is having a BS level education is definitely comfortable to transform that known theoretical mathematics into a mathematics which is more accessible. And of course, I mean it, making it accessible using computing. In this new era, I should say, sorry if I said area, in this new era, we have to develop respect for every area of mathematics. I shall give a few examples here, how they have become relevant during last 10 or so years. Just see, number theory, considered one of the most theoretical subjects and probably far, far away from the practical world. It has found direct applications in the form of cryptography and digital ontology. It is only through the digital ontology and cryptography today and cryptanalysis that we are having such things that if we are having 4 or 5 different Android devices, a laptop and few other devices, and we log on from any of them, we reach the same account. The main cloud computing is able to identify ourselves, and it can identify billions of people at the same time. It is only happening through digital ontology, cryptography, and quite at the base using the number theory. Next is fluid mechanics, which probably right from day one is considered to be the traditional applied mathematics. It has a new kind of application. Probably it has many more, of course, applications, but let me establish this one. Traffic flow in large cities, that may be considered as a fluid. If there are millions of taxis and cars and motor vehicles on the streets of New York or any other metropolitan city, like even Karachi, we can consider this traffic flow as an approximation to the continuous fluid. Again, group theory, considered to be very theoretical and inaccessible. In cryptocurrency, it has become extremely relevant, and genetic coding, not much is needed to be emphasized over here. Yet another one is topology. My own specialization is in topology, and it is quite notorious to be theoretical. Luckily, situation has changed. It is in digital topology and topological data analysis. One of the finest data analysts in the world, they practice topological data analysis because it is such a difficult subject. The reason is simple. It requires a huge amount of topological knowledge, which you can apply using the computers upon the data. In fact, within the heaps of data, we are trying to figure out new shapes. The topological data analysis means finding the hidden shape of the data. It is an extremely difficult task and extremely relevant in the times of satellite imagery, for example, genetic data, genome data. It is extremely relevant now. And graph theory, it has new, although quite from the start, graph theory was having a lot of applications. But in recent times, we have seen the graph databases, especially in terms of Facebook. Behind Facebook, it is a huge, huge graph database. And we are also developing the computational social science, which is also called the digital humanities. If you go on the MIT open source courseware website, you will find different courses by the name of digital humanities and computational social sciences. They are using graph theory presently to engineer the social solutions and even political solutions for large communities and societies. So my point over here is that we have to develop reverence and respect for every area of mathematics. This is particularly meaningful for the current students of mathematics who are today facing a dilemma, probably a perennial dilemma. It is an evergreen dilemma. Even at that time, once I was a student, it was there, that whatever we are learning, whether it has any meanings or any applications towards the real life or not. Make it every area of mathematics, as I just noted, these 4 areas, all of them are having fundamental applications. There might be the case that we are not knowing, but not knowing does not mean that it does not exist. I hope my students will, because for today's talk, I shall be more concerned to the students. I hope the students will be able to understand my point. Not knowing the applications does not mean that the applications do not exist. That is the punchline. What we need, how we shift towards data science. It is the synergetic effect. Synergy means combining the different streams of knowledge and skills into a single organic whole. We have a lot of mathematics on our disposal, multivariate calculus and stuff like this, and then statistics, probably physics knowledge is there. But if you want to develop a synergetic effect, the next important thing is to convert knowledge into skill. If you allow me to say it in Urdu, इल्म को हुनर में तकसीम करना में तब्दील करना, सॉरी माफ कीजिएगा, इल्म को हुनर में तब्दील करना एक बड़ा मुश्किल मरहला होता है और ये फर्द वाहिद के अंदर वाक़ई होता है। ये बाहर से बहुत मुश्किल है कि कोई शख्स आपके ऊपर इसको ठोंस दे, इल्ला ये कि आप खुद अपने अंदर से ख्वाहिशमंद हो कि जो इल्म मैंने पढ़ा है वो मेरे हुनर में तब्दील हो जाए। जो दिमाग में है वो हाथ में उतर आए. I hope, probably I cannot say all these things in English so vehemently, but what I said for all my other people who are just able to understand English, what I was saying in Urdu is that you have to transform your theoretical knowledge into skill. You have to bring your knowledge from the head into your hand. This stage of bringing it, transitioning it from your mind into your hand is fairly difficult, and probably no external agency can do it from the outside. It is your inner self and a firm commitment to your fundamental dream. You must dream that your hands are having such a mesmerism in your hands, such a skill in your hand that you will make wonderful changes in the world. Only then, if you have the dream, only then probably you will be able to transform your theoretical mathematical knowledge into a skill. And the best tool to transform that skill is this black box known as computer. This is the start. Do remember, every journey, they say that the journey starts from a small step. Let me correct it. Every journey starts from a dream. Dream that you will become a data scientist. Dream. Have a dream place that your fingers will have that wonderful, what we call in Urdu, the mojiza. That your fingers will be able to play with the data, with the mountains of data, with the Himalayas of data, and you will come out with astonishing analytical insights. That is the dream. If you have the dream, you will take the first step, you will start the journey, and definitely one day you will reach the destination, and probably much beyond the destination. I have to go into the tools of data science. Probably that is the best thing I can tell you. First of all, you have to be proficient in a computer language, and the best language today is probably two, the Python and R. For Python, Anaconda, this is one distribution of Python language, and it has the ability to install whole Python. Do remember that Python is an open source language. Consequently, its package management is fairly difficult and fairly confusing for a beginner. In such scenario, doing all the Python installation and management and package management yourself is almost impossible at the start. So at this stage, you should start by Anaconda. Simply search on Google and ask for installing of Anaconda. Once you will install Anaconda, it will give you a Jupyter notebook. I can give you an example of a Jupyter notebook here. Now this is a Jupyter notebook being run now. The kernel will be run. Kernel is being run. It will take a little time here. And let me start with this is the Python 3 Jupyter notebook. Do remember that Jupyter notebooks always open in the browser. For example, let me write down a hello world. And over here, I shall press Control Enter, and this is the Python running in Jupyter notebook. I hope you remember this name where my cursor is. It is JUPY. This PY stands for Python. It is not normal spelling of Jupyter or JUPITER. It is PY. PY stands for Python basically. Okay, coming back. I shall introduce you the tools so briefly because I have a lot of things to cover today. Second is the VS Code. Now, VS Code is quite easily available in the market, and I don't need to put the example here. It is Visual Studio Code, and a lot of people from computer science, they are using it. You can use Visual Studio Code as well for doing data science work in Python. Although I myself is always accustomed to using Jupyter notebooks and other tools, not Visual Studio Code, but definitely people are using, and this is a fairly good tool, I should say. If you are not into the point of using the hassle of installing Anaconda yourself and doing some sort of Python work on your own, you can make the ready-made installation of Colab. This is a computer cloud computing based facility and a very powerful facility. I can show you an example of this Colab here. Again, it will open, because it is a cloud computing, it will open in the browser. This is, you can see here, it is a CASPAM Colab introduction. I just developed this for writing down the CASPAM programs here. Again, we shall write here the print hello world. And now remember that it is not running on my machine. It will be running on, first of all, we have to connect it. This is the word connect. And before that connect, do remember, this will give us many great options. We have a GPU on our disposal, and not only GPU, but a tensor processing unit, TPU. These are the latest, most machines in the world, and probably we cannot purchase them here in our country. So this is a great opportunity that if we can run our code using tensor processing units provided by Google, using Colab. It is a great opportunity, and I shall stress upon the students and the enthusiasts that they should check this Colab option. For the time being, I'm using simple CPU because it will be easier for me at this time. Otherwise, I will have to wait for a little longer. This is how I shall collect. Now it is connecting to the cloud computer. And once it is connected to the cloud, it will take a little time. It is now connected, and now I can run my Python code here. The code has been run in the cloud, and the result has come back on my machine. So you can see that how fast it is. So this is Colab. Next is RStudio. Primarily, this tool is meant for the R language, but wonderful changes have been made in the recent times, and it has developed a special package today now called the Reticulate package. Using the Reticulate, you can take the best of both the worlds of Python and R. If you run the Reticulate package from R language, you are able to run the local Python on your machine available into the RStudio. But of course, this needs an extreme degree of expertise, probably at the start of the data science career, not possible without a supervisor or or a direct guide shall be required probably. So not recommended for the beginners, but for the advanced level users, yes. For example, myself, I'm using RStudio and Python combined. So you can take note only of this, but not start it. Second, the most important language of today's data science is R language. The whole of North American continent is full of R users. It is little unfortunate that Pakistani computer science community is more bent towards Python, but I think that a good data scientist should be proficient in both. The single-sided tendency of using only Python is not good. That will restrict your job prospects. R language. It is fundamentally a statistical language, and a heap or a mountain or a Himalayas of statistical and mathematical knowledge is required before using this language. Not meant for an ordinary person in the job market, not meant for a person who is from the corporate sector probably. It is definitely meant for the people who are extremely proficient in mathematics and statistics. With this pinch of salt, it is the language of the hardcore machine learning scientists. If you are trying to develop the new computer algorithms for data science, if you are trying to do data science on the research level, not on the corporate or industry or business level, then you have to also have R language besides Python. I am not saying that Python, leave Python. No, not at all. Python and R. There was a time once there was a debate between Python or R. Now the time has changed. It is Python and R. Here is an example of the R Studio. Now, R Studio is the main IDE, the integrated development environment with which we play with R. And this is an example of R Studio now I'm running, just to give you a glimpse and a feeling what is R Studio. So this is R, and let me give you a glimpse of a data set probably. I have a data set over here, and let me calculate a summary of this. Now I have a summary over here. Probably I would also need to see the structure of this data set. This is how we do the data analysis. Primarily, if you look at this, this is the way to do R Studio. But do remember, if you want to use, you need to understand statistics very thoroughly, very thoroughly. Let me repeat it, very thoroughly. Otherwise, do not enter into this area. This will be fairly difficult for at least the beginners. One wonderful thing is that it is a complete platform. R Studio is always complete platform. It helps you for ingesting. You can get data from very disparate sources. Either that may be a SQL database, that may be a graph database, MongoDB, or probably some Excel workbook which you are maintaining privately on your computer. It will help you everywhere. That stage is called ingesting. Second stage in data science workflow is called munging. In munging, we cleanse the data. There are real world data is always dirty data. The clean data are only found into the Kaggle-like childish competitions or into the textbooks. What I shall suggest, if you want to get good jobs, always go for the dirty but real world data and learn to do munging and cleaning of the data. Otherwise, you are not going to enter into the real world data science. There is a difference between a theoretical data science and a real world data science. Real world data science is meant to directly handle the business and industry problems. It is not meant for doing some toy problems and solving them for the sake of just one class or one student or for one MS thesis. No, it is meant to solve the practical problems. Over there, you will need munging skills. Then there is exploration, which also includes visualization. And then the predictive modeling, fairly advanced, but very heavyweight predictive modeling methods have been developed in recent times, like MLR3, MLR2, Keras, and then Skylab, so many others. And last thing is that this R Studio is more than complete. It is wonderful, which is called, in fact, the LaTeX is now being replaced by Markdown, and the Markdown language is being again augmented using R Markdown. I can understand that what I'm speaking, the stuff is fairly complicated, but do remember that once you are entering into the area of data science, it has to be complicated. There is no royal way to geometry, to knowledge, Archimedes said, and I quote. By using this R Studio, you can write down full books, presentations, websites, collaborative reports, dynamic data reports, which are all the bread and butter of a data scientist, especially in the corporate sector. Interesting, and one of the most interesting things, which in fact I discovered myself to my extreme wonder, I can also run R in Colab, whereas Google did not mean it. Google made Colab only for Python, but interestingly, R can also be run on Colab. If you want any help in this regard, I can provide you. Probably the time is less, so I shall not go to give you a demo of Colab into R at some later stage. So these are the fundamental two tools at this stage. Next is our technologies. What techs are needed to do these things successfully? First of all, it is BI, business intelligence. Business intelligence is probably the single most important thing which is going to give you a good job and a marketable job in the area of banking, stock markets, large corporate sectors, industries, defense, military, because in majority of these areas, people are more interested into their already collected data and want to know what are the trends over there, and they want to visualize. So business intelligence is one most important area, and probably, and quite unfortunately in Pakistani society, people are not fully aware of it. It is mostly data visualization. If you are an expert on graphics, on making multicolor graphs and attractive graphs, not only that they have to be attractive, they have to be very, very meaningful, deeply meaningful. Only then you can make good data visualizations. There are certain separate softwares. Do remember one wrong impression mathematics students get from data visualization. They understand that probably everything is plotted in the manner of y is equal to f of x. No, not at all. It is not the case. You have to change your fundamental schema of mind. Look at the visualizations at different places and you will come to know that how the world has changed. Probably more than our imagination, it has changed. Data visualization, although it is almost always restricted to 2 and 3 dimensions, but the things have changed so drastically that probably the mathematics student needs a little more new education to understand the graphs. I can understand the mathematics students will be wondering that how come that mathematics students is unable to understand the graph. No, take my word for it. Definitely, you need a new education to understand the same data visualization, same graphs with which you have spent probably half of your age once you come into data science arena. Fundamentally, these are the dashboards. These are known as data dashboards. Let me correct it probably over here. It should be the word data dashboards. And do not underestimate, please, this. I'm really happy to see that CASPAM is using Microsoft Excel for data analysis in 1 or 2 courses of BS probably. Over here, let me give you a very pertinent word of caution. What normally will happen, people will come and they will start doing Excel in the most ordinary manner. Excel is one of the most used and at the same time most abused software in the world. It is used in the manner of a typewriter. It is used in the manner of a ledger probably. No. If you are a power user, if you use Microsoft Excel at the most advanced level, only then it is meaningful. What normally people do not admit publicly that they do not know the advanced level of any software. What they do, they redefine the definition and they say, no, the whole visualization, the whole data analysis, only this one which I'm doing. They do not admit that they do not know the new frontiers. Microsoft Excel 2019 and Microsoft Office 365, they have done wonders in recent times. Especially look at Power Query, then Power Pivot. These two are in the Power View. These three are the main technologies behind today's Excel. If our students do not understand on this level, do understand that we are not doing any justice to them, please. Right? So this much for the business intelligence task, and I have got a tea as well. I hope you will allow me to take tea while I'm talking to you as well. I hope my administrators are not going to
No
mind
worries. No worries at all.
that. Okay, thank you. Nice of you. Next is the cloud computing. Microsoft Azure. Microsoft has also created this cloud platform. I shall give you an example of this Microsoft Azure now. This is from my personal account. Sorry if I have missed that. Sorry, I made a mistake. Now it is correct. This is the main documentation page. I have deliberately given only the documentation page first here. Yeah, if any of your students, especially the BS level students, they want to start Azure machine learning machine learning platform, this is the starting point, and this is probably the best thing you can do. Read these documentation over here. I come back and show you. It has basically Azure Machine Learning Studio. Now I give you this example of Machine Learning Studio. This is from my own private account. These are the few experiments I just made for the CASPAM people. For example, look at this. Now, what you call project is known in this Azure as the machine learning experiment. Now, this is a machine learning experiment, and I just made it for the, it is a dummy problem. I just made it. You can see that it is more oriented towards the visual programming paradigm. For example, this is the movie rating database, and this is the metadata editor. It will determine that which particular column is of what kind of variable, whether it is a categorical variable or a continuous variable and things like this. And then there are ordinal variables. This is the movie titles we are taking as a sideline and joining the data, project columns, remove duplicate rows. You have to do, this part is called munging of the data. And this part is called the ingesting of data. This is munging of the data. Once the data has been munged and it is splitted over here, from this point, split data up till this point. This is called predictive modeling. And once the predictive modeling has been done, this evaluate recommender and evaluate recommender, these two, they are the deployment stage. So in a way, it is a microcosm and a complete example of how the data science field goes and how it works, especially in the corporate sector. Let me say it again. I'm not concerned at this moment with the academic and theoretical data science. I'm concerned with the business, industry, and corporate related data science, where we solve the practical problems. Okay, coming back. This was an example of the Azure Machine Learning Studio. Do exercise, play with it, and probably you will get some good idea of this. And this is the famous Google Cloud platform known as GCP. We have an example again from my own private account, but as usual, I have consumed all of my credit from this account. It is a paid account. And I have consumed almost all the billing, so I am having $0 at the moment. But even then, I can show you at least the relevant things here. If you go on this site, you will see that you are having an artificial intelligence portion here. This is the big data portion. And data flow, these are basically the data lakes, if you have heard the name, and the big query. It is a database, something like which saves data on the scale of yottabytes, not gigabytes, terabytes, on the scale of yottabytes even, like Facebook and YouTube. Then if you go forward, this is the artificial intelligence portion, and this is the AI platform. It is a lengthy discussion and lengthy matter over here, but this is again cloud-based machine learning and cloud-based artificial intelligence. So a person who really wants to transform from mathematics to data science, he has to learn the cloud-based solutions of
I think Dr.
for data science and
yes.
Pardon?
I think there was a bandwidth problem, so we lost your voice, and your video was also stagnant.
That is, if you have lost my voice, that is good, because I want to take more tea.
Okay.
Okay, come forward. After cloud computing, the next thing of now two technologies I have spoken: business intelligence and cloud computing. Third one is the version control systems. If you want to be a proper, normally in the corporate sector, there are not only single person who is dealing the whole data science thing. It is always a data science team. For example, if you go into the Mobilink Jazz data science team headquarter over here in Islamabad, they are almost people of 15 people a team who are doing it. And they are collaborating with each other all the time. And they also want to make their collaboration in such a manner that if they lose one part of the software, one part of the project of data science, they do not lose the whole project. Over there, you need Git and GitHub. Now, it is fairly technical to tell you that what is Git and how it is done, but do make it a mental note that you have to understand this technology. YouTube has a lot of good tutorials on Git and GitHub, but understanding the Git is fairly mind-boggling. It is not an easy task. I wish I could have, if I had any power available to me, I must have entered this Git and GitHub into the CASPAM syllabi for data science stream. Anyhow, for some other time. Then is the DevOps. These are basically related to the deployment stage of data science model. For this GitHub, which I spoken earlier, GitHub Actions is a technology over there. It is cloud-based and it is open source, so does not cost you anything. Next is the containerization. Containerization is fundamentally an idea which has come from the world of Unix and Linux. Today, it is being implemented by the use of Docker, a platform which ensures that the software runs totally within a sandbox, and that software is run without disturbance from machine to machine. You have normally seen that if you are running a software here on my machine, if we change the machine, the software is not running. It will say that certain dependencies are absent. If you put it into a Docker image file, it is going to put all the dependencies into a single packet and make it a container. So you take this container anywhere. You make the software on Windows and run it on Linux. It is only the container which will make sure that change of operating system does not affect the data science project. That is very important task which is required to be learned. Then Circle CI is almost doing the same thing as GitHub Actions. For the sake of completion, I have mentioned it. Again, no need to go into any deeper details over here. Quantum computing. Quantum computing primarily I'm interested to mention because this is an area where Pakistan is lagging, and it is a national duty to develop quantum computing. At the start of my discussion, I told you that probably in the new era of data science, the people who are having only physics background in mathematics, they are a little behind now, behind the tide or behind the revolution. No, they are not. Through quantum computing, they can re-enter into the arena and they can regain their importance, which to some extent has been lessened now by the people who are having a background in data and statistics and other things, but which means non-physics backgrounds. Quantum computing, let me give you a start from this. Do remember that I shall provide all the HTML and these web links in my file, which will be an HTML file. I shall share it with Dr. Fiza, and she will distribute it among others.
Just a soft reminder, Dr. Athar Kharal, it's 2:15 now.
How? Okay, I couldn't understand that time is passing so quickly. So this is the area you people can look into this, and my advice is that CASPAM people should look into it, because the physics department at BZU is fairly strong in this, and they can use quantum computing. Quantum computing is definitely required. Now the last part is the ideas for startup ventures. I shall take 5 more minutes and I shall complete it. I hope you will tolerate me for another 5 minutes. Okay, educational data mining. Primarily, I'm present as a controller of examinations in University of Wa, and you might be wondering that what a controller of examination is doing with data science. No, the things have changed. This university is really using data science to the real advantage of educational data mining. And just recently, I was able to mine one of the older data set in this university, and we were able to recover 7.3 million rupees, which is a huge amount, which we recovered only because we were having a successful educational data mining project here. I did that project, and that is the reason that I'm here. You can do it in your institutions. For especially the mathematics students, they can provide, if they have the data science expertise, they can provide such expertise to their Bahauddin Zikriya University over there. Discrete event simulation, for example, in our studio, we are having a package known as Simmer. This package, or this is, in fact, discrete event simulation is a full-fledged mathematical field. Recently, in one of the very famous hospital, which I am not naming by legal reasons, they hired me. I was able to tell them by using discrete event simulation that at what time of the day, how many doctors are required, so that the queue is not more than 5 minutes per person. That no single person will be waiting more than 5%. How many doctors are required? On the other hand, when there are less number of people, you have to reduce the doctors so that the money can be saved. I solved this problem thoroughly, 101%, by using theoretical mathematics and skill into R language. Human resource analytics and optimization is fairly required. If you presently just contact Habib Bank, they are using human resource analytics and human resource optimization. This is another area you need to focus upon this. Some other time I shall share more details probably. Process log mining, it is basically industrial problem. Recently, the new industry, especially the industry which are the Chinese, our brother Chinese are setting here in Faisalabad, Allama Iqbal Special Economic Zone and Gwadar. They are using large number of sensors in the industry. For example, in their mobile factories, they are using large number of sensors. Now, sensors are going to produce huge amounts of data. No single human can process that. You need process mining technology. This is process mining is fundamentally a statistical and mathematical technique which has been transformed now into the computer languages. Then data journalism, just visit 538.com. you will come to know. I'm not going into it. Business science, it is related to business intelligence. And I have spoken a bit about it. Other things, stock market investment, portfolio investment, portfolio management. As I understand today, one of another more valuable speaker, Dr. Adnan, probably. He's from the same field of algorithmic investments
Dr.
and
Mohsin
portfolio
Javed
management.
is.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Mohsin. If you are listening, I'm really sorry. I forgot your name. I hope you will pardon me. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm through. I hope I was not too technical. Now, if you have any questions, please do ask me.
So maybe Dr. Kharal, we move to the panel discussion, and the questions that the attendees have asked, I will through those questions in the panel discussion as well.
Yes, of course, please.
Thank you very much for such an enlightening talk and for the kind cooperation, please. Thank you.